What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsac. I'm doing delivery from HackTheBox, which is an easy machine I created, so obviously I'm going to be biased here and say it's amazing. The box starts off with a logic flaw that involves two applications. Mattermost, which is just like Slack, it's an instant messaging application, and then a help desk. The organization set up their Mattermost server to allow anyone with a company email address access to their chat because they assume only employees have emails. The downside to this is the help desk actually gives anyone who creates a ticket a company email address because the help desk supports emailing the help desk to update your ticket. So you can combine these two things to register for an account on Mattermost and gain access to some sensitive conversations. And then to Privesk, there's a cracking challenge, which we'll get into. So let's jump in. As always, I'm going to start off with an nmap. So sudo nmap-sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate versions, oa, output all formats, put it in the nmap directory, but first, that directory has to exist. Then name it delivery, the IP address of 10.10.10.222, and I'm going to add the -v flag so it shows me open ports as it finds it. Next, I'm going to do a sleep 300 to sleep for 5 minutes, and I'm going to do a full nmap scan, so sudo nmap-p-oa, all ports, nmap delivery all ports 10.10.10.222, and it looks like the first nmap already finished, so we don't have to queue up the second nmap, and I'll do the -v flag here as well. So let's take a look at the results. So less nmap delivery.nmap. And the reason why I just do the script scan first is because it generally shows me everything I want. I queue up the full port scan because if there's a hidden TCP port, I still want to see it, but it can take more time to run. So that's why I always wait till after this is done. The reason why I don't do two nmaps at once is just because you can send a lot of data and miss things. So the results of this shows me it's a Debian box, probably Debian 10 based upon this SSH banner. Then we also have HTTP on port 80 running Nginx, and the title page just says welcome. So let's go take a look over at the web page. So 10.10.10.222. And we get just the welcome page that says delivery, the best place to get all your email related support. For an account, check out our help desk, and then there's also a contact us. So going to the help desk, we see its host name is helpdesk.delivery.htb. So I'm going to go in my host file, so sudo vi etc host, and we're going to add that. So 10.10.10.222 delivery.htb. So now when we click this link, it actually goes somewhere. I forgot helpdesk.delivery.htb. Now, when we click the link, it actually goes somewhere. There also is a contact us page. So let's take a look at this. For unregistered users, please use the help desk to get in touch with their team. Once you have a @delivery.htb email address, you'll have access to our Mattermost server. And the Mattermost server is delivery.htb:8065. So we click there and we don't go anywhere because we don't have that delivery.htb because I got rid of that. So let's add delivery.htb and then refresh the page and we can see a Mattermost server. Once it loads, and this is just like Slack, it's an online chat application. It has its own client and whatnot. So it's telling us we should have a delivery.htb email. So I'm going to put this on the back burner and we're going to check out this help desk system. It is running osTicket and we see the copyright is 2021. Its footer also tells us the host name of delivery. I don't see a way to enumerate version. So I'm going to go osTicket GitHub and see if there's any quick wins on enumerating what version of osTicket this is to see maybe there's some type of exploit. So I'm just going to grab this readme and we'll see if readme.md exists on this box. And that was not what I wanted. Is it lowercase? Readme is capital.md. File not found. So let's see. I'm just going to try file.php to make sure we're in the right location. So if I go file.php, unknown or invalid file. So it looks like we're good. It just doesn't have the MD files. There is a web.config, so we can try this. The main reason I'm trying it is because it didn't have the PHP suffix, so the web server won't try to execute code. So let's go out of here. Let's go downloads, web.config, and see if it gives any information about the version. I don't see it, so this may be a dead end. So let's go take a look at it, and if we run into more like issues, we can always look at the version. We can always like enumerate the version better. But we can also run Searchsploit against it to see if even knowing the version would help. So we do have a lot of exploits for this. I'm just going to go to exploit DB because I think this may tell me like the dates. Searchsploit isn't showing the dates. I wonder if there's a option. Searchsploit-H. Do we have date, case, strict, title? Let's see. Show results in JSON format. I'm going to, -V for verbose. If I add -V here. I do not know what verbose is about this. I wonder if JSON output, if that will show anything. Okay, we have date. Let's do JQ period. There we go. Now we have the date. I'm going to search for like 202, 2020, and 2021. So we do have some 2021 exploits. So knowing the version would definitely potentially help. Server-side request forgery, authenticated XSS, ticket queue, cross-site scripting, save search. So this is authenticated. So a bunch of stuff there. Knowing the version may help to know if it is vulnerable to that. But we can also maybe just open a new ticket and just use this application. For the email, we don't really care what we put. So we'll do please subscribe at doesnotexist.com, just a fake email. Username, we can do IPsec. Phone number, 555-867-5309. Let's just do a help desk topic, contact us, test ticket. And we could try putting a link here. So A equals href, HTTP 10.10.10. Actually, we have a link button here. Insert link. Let's just use the website's functionality for us. So 10.10.14.2 test. Click me. So there we go. We have a link here. And I always like just putting links to see if people click them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So I'm going to do sudo nclvnp 80. So now if someone clicks this link, my netcat will tell me. And we just do the captcha. So A9D04, create ticket. And we see the ticket has been created. The ID is 8945126. And if we want to add more information to the ticket, just email this. And this is what's key. A lot of help desk systems actually have this functionality where you can reply to the ticket and email to update it. And you got to pay attention to what type of domain that gives you, because if it gives you the same domain as the corporation, now you can potentially just bypass any verification that they just require you to have a corporate email, because now we have a corporate email. So if I go to check ticket status, it's going to, what did I put for the email address? Please subscribe at doesnotexist.com, I think. I hope. I forgot about that piece. We can put the ticket number, view the ticket. So now we have this. So if we emailed the ticket ID at delivery.htb, information should go here. So I'm going to copy this email, and we're going to go to the Mattermost server and create an account. So what is my email address? It is this, my name, IPsec, my password would be password1. P at SSWOD, 1 exclamation point. Create account. So it says, please verify your email address. So it's accepted. We can refresh the ticket and we see an email. Registration successful. Please activate your email by going to this URL. So we can copy this and then paste it. And now we have just validated we have a delivery.htb email address, which allows us to log into Mattermost. And I've seen this vulnerability quite often in like organizations, especially once like COVID hit and a lot of people were working from home trying to find like remote work scenarios. Creating accounts for everyone was a tedious process, so a lot just depended on if they had an email. It was good. So we can get access to this Mattermost, and we see a message from root. Developers, please update the theme to osTicket before we go live. So the help desk is not live. Credentials to the server is mail deliverer, and you've got mail. Also, please create a program to help us stop reusing the same password everywhere, especially those that are variant of please subscribe bang. It may not be in rocku.txt, which is a common word list, but if any hacker manages to get our hashes, they can use Hashcat rules to create a variation of all common words and passwords. So this is a pretty good hint at what we'll do in a bit, but we can go to this box, so we can try to log in, and we see no one clicked the link. So I'll just Control-C this. We can SSH, mail deliver at 10.10.10.222, and then we copy you've got mail. I think I copied a space there, so I'm going to hit backspace. There we go. So yeah, I had a space. That's why you heard 2 keys hit. So we're on this box. Now, if we go to user.txt, we can get the flag, but the hint says, please subscribe may not be in Rocku. If a hacker manages to get this, they can easily crack all password and phrases. So the very first thing I do is look at passwd to find out what other users are on this box. And I'm going to do grep-v, and we can say, we don't want anything with false. I don't need that bracket. \pipe is how you do an or and grep. So no login we also don't want. And we see, let's see, just 4 accounts. We have Mattermost, mail deliverer, sync, and root. We're this mail deliverer account, so we may want to go into Mattermost, and we could use Hashcat to build a variation of this word list. So there are 2 ways to root the box. You could skip the going into the database to get a hash by doing this. So we're going to go here and we'll use Hashcat to make a word list. So let's do vpw, put please subscribe there. So Hashcat, then --std out, I believe, pw-r for rule file, then user share Hashcat rules best64.rule, and that's going to make 64 entries of this password. So we can just output this to a file now. So we'll call this pw list, maybe. I don't know what else to name it. And if you're curious how this rule file works, it's somewhat cool. So we can go over it really quick. So let's this rule file, and if you want to know more about Hashcat, definitely recommend the HackTheBox Academy. I've helped create that course. I think Ben did it with me, but it's a really good course. So we can, let's look at what it created. So pw list. So if we look at Hashcat rules, colon means do nothing, so it just did nothing here. R is a magical one to reverse the password, so you can see it took that and reversed it. U is going to uppercase the whole password. T0 means toggle 0, so it's going to change the casing on the 0th letter, which is the very first one. If that was T1, it would leave this a capital and then capitalize the L. Then we can see it's doing a simple number append. So $ means do something to the end. So we go to the end of the line and adding 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it's doing it again with 2 digits. So you can see how that works. So Hashcat rules are super simple. This is going to append E to the end, append S to the end, because maybe your password is password and you want the password of passwords. I don't know. This is going to overwrite. So this is delete 1 character, this little bracket. I bet if I Google, we can pull up a how-to on this real quick. So again, delete 1, append A. So it deleted the exclamation point, appended A, delete 2, append S. So it's just doing common things like that. If we do Hashcat rule file syntax, maybe? Let's see. Rule-based attack. Is it going to explain everything? Yeah. So this is all the functions and how to do it. So definitely recommend reading this. Or again, if you don't want to just read the man pages, go to HackTheBox Academy, which gives you more interactive learning. But Now that we have this PW list, the question is how we use it. We could just use Hydra and brute force SSH, but sometimes SSH doesn't allow root to log in. Actually, in most cases, root doesn't log in via passwords. So if we look at etc SSH, sshd config, permit root login is no. So we can't log into this box with SSH, and I want to brute force both accounts of Mattermost, sync, and root. Well, sync I don't really care about because that's not a interactive shell, but I want to brute force Mattermost and root. So we got this password list. The next thing is to use a program called sucrack. So sucrack GitHub to download it. And what this is going to do is just brute force with the program su. So let's go to opt git clone. Let's see. I already have it, so let's rm-rf sucrack. Git clone, cd sucrack, /configure. And it will allow us to. You may have to do like I think auto reconfig -f-I believe, if that configure doesn't work to do something. But if configure doesn't work, I recommend that auto reconfig command. And if that doesn't work, Google whatever error you get. But now we can just do make, and it's going to make sucrack. If we go into source, we have sucrack here. So I'm going to go back, make dub, and we're going to copy pw list to dub, and then copy opt sucrack source sucrack to dub. Now we can host both of these, so python-m, http.server, port 8000, and then let's just make dir.work. Actually, let's try doing this from dev-shm for opsec reasons. The reason why I like this directory so much is it's non-persistent. This is RAM disk. So if the server reboots, the files you drop here are gone. So you don't have to worry about cleaning up after your tracks as much. If you just created this .work directory in the home, if you just forgot to delete it, the file would exist until someone deletes it, and that's just not good. So wget 10.10.14.2, port 8000, sucrack. And then we want to do pw list. And then let's chmod +x sucrack /sucrack, and we can see we can execute it. Every now and then, dev-shm, mainly on I think Red Hat and CentOS boxes, will be mounted no exec here. If we grep no exec, is anything mounted here? Let's clear that out. So these directories have no exec, which means I can't drop a binary and run it. Sys, proc, dev, pts, these aren't really even directories I can drop files to, so don't really matter to me. So let's do sucrack -h. And we can see it wants, let's see, sucrack, some options, user root, password list. So I'm going to try that real quick. sucrack root pw list. Let's see what happens with no thing. No such file or directory. Let's do -rl. Okay, let's read all these options in example. So let's look at what -a is. Let's see. -a options. -l is rules. -u is user. Wordlist should go at the end. I wonder if I do dev-shm pw list. fopen no such file or directory. sucrack -a -w20 -s10 u root -rl. So this is rules afl afld pw list. Okay, so rl works. I wonder what l is. What is L? L is rules. If I just do -r, okay. There we go. So this works, and we can see the password for root is please subscribe !21. I should probably look up the syntax for sucrack, but I don't know every tool. I just know I don't know how to use every tool. I certainly don't know every tool there, but yeah. So that is one way to do this box. The other way is using Hashcat. So if we look at Mattermost, so I guess Mattermost is probably installed in opt because that's where most applications are. So we go opt Mattermost, look for the config, probably in a directory called config, and we can look at config.json. So I'm going to do cat config.json JQ period. I don't have JQ here. So I'm just going to do less, and we go through this. We have an API secret, so this could be good. This is GIFCat API secret, so probably talking to a server that has embedded GIFs, so not too interesting. If we wanted to upset people, we could just erase that keys and then maybe their Giphy won't work. But we have this SQL setting, so we have a user called mmuser and a password called HackTheBox admin pw. And it's going to port 3306. Of course, the driver says MySQL, so we know this is a MySQL box. So I'm going to copy this password. And then I'm just going to try su-mattermost to see what is here. Put the password in. And it does not work. So we can also MySQL-u Mattermost-b, put the password, access denied for user Mattermost at localhost. I'm going to try putting the database of Mattermost, and I think we need the -D flag maybe. Let's see, crack the admin pw. I wonder if there was an exclamation point. Let's see. Shift, exclamation point. So let's go back into config.json. Crack. So there is, user is mmuser. I was typing Mattermost. So if I was taking notes, I probably would not have made that mistake. So always the benefit of taking notes, but we can do this, paste, and we get in. So show databases, show database. Show databases. It helps if I can type. And we can use Mattermost and then show tables. And maybe the users table is good, but if I just select star from users, gives me all the information, but that may be a bit too much. So I always like doing describe first to show me all the tables within it. And then I can select what I want. So I probably want the ID, the username, and password from users. And I may want like MFA secret if they are doing two-factor, because if I steal all these secrets, then I can just bypass 2FA. But we have this. And let's see, ID, okay, username root, and here's the password. It is a bcrypt password. However, the hint says to crack this password, and our word list isn't too big, right? If we look at it, wc-l pw list, it's only 77 characters. 77, wait. Why is it 77? Weird. I would assumed it would be 64 because we ran best 64 on it, which should be 64 rules, but okay, whatever. So let's vhash. And to prove the hashing doesn't take too long, I'm going to do it on a VM. So I'm going to look at example hashes less bcrypt, and we're going to paste this hash on mode 3200. So hashcat-m 3200, the password or the hash, and then we could do pw list, but we also could just do pw and then -r for rules, user share, hashcat rules best 64. So generally with Hashcat, I don't just output a bunch of word lists, because the benefit of rules is when you get into large files, let's say this word list was 1 gig. If I wanted to use this best 64 rule, which made this 76 lines, now that 1 gig file turns into like 76 gigs. Not fun. So that's the benefit of rules. And, I already had this in. Let's move Hashcat. Let's just delete that whole directory. Or we can do hashcat.pot file. There we go. It was telling me it had already cracked. So when I was making the box, I guess I just left that in. I don't use Hashcat for my VM much, but you can see it cracked it so quick because, again, the rule file is just small. I like this piece of the box. I know it got a lot of hate, but my thought process with adding this is I run Hashcat probably 100 times anytime I do a password audit because I will constantly run Hashcat and then go into that rule file I just deleted. So I'll cat Hashcat pot file, alt-f, print 2, and then grab this to a new crack and then run Hashcat yet again against this. And every time I get a new crack, it goes into the pot file and I run it again, run it again, run it again. And you'd be surprised how many more hits you'd get if you just do a best64 crack against an Active Directory database and then take what cracked, submit it against best64 again, and you'd be surprised how long of a chain you go until it stops giving you new cracks. So that was what this whole piece of the box was supposed to teach you, is using Hashcat rule files. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the box. Before we go, I can go into, I guess, kind of how the box works. Let's do su dash and please subscribe. Whoops. Please subscribe, exclamation point 21. I probably typoed that. So I'm just going to cat new crack. And we'll copy and paste. su dash. So what we can do is look at this pi smtp and mail.sh. There's also note.txt, which talks about it and gives you a blog post of what this whole attack was based upon, how I learned about it. So if you just go to this Medium link or Google how I hacked 100 companies through the help desk, it talks about exactly what we did in this box. So let's look at mail.sh to see what this is. All this is doing is starting the pi smtp server. So I'm guessing if I look at my cron tab, let's see, cat etc cron tab. Yeah. It's constantly making sure this mail.sh is running. And then if I look at mail.sh, it says, if I don't exist, run it. So a really bad way to just make sure this service is running. I probably should have created like a systemd service or something, but I'm too lazy. So I just did it this way because it was a quick win. Now this SMTP server, if you noticed in one of the boxes, I forget what one, we used a Python SMTP server to retrieve mail. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I learned about that Python library from that box, and I'm just getting mail and then going into the database and manually doing that update. Mail doesn't actually work on this box because it's a closed environment. This was just a good way to get that working and get the ticket information in there. So if you want to look at a fun script I had writing, there's this one. But yeah, that'll be it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, and I will see you all next week.